And we're back here on the GSMC Baseball Podcast, bringing you our third segment, which is going to be talking about James Paxton and his DFA by the Los Angeles Dodgers. But before we do that, I'd like to ask you again to please like and follow the show. We do get a number of questions from viewers, to ensure that your question does get read in the air. Please do the link, gsmcpodcast.net. It really does help the show. It really does mean a lot, so thank you so much for that. And let's get back into the show for today. All right, so our third segment is going to be talking about James Paxton and his DFA by the Los Angeles Dodgers, so let's get into it. So, as I said, this is something that broke on my show yesterday. I remember seeing it pop up on my phone, and I was like, wow, that's weird. I can't be reading that right, because, obviously I was focusing on the show. I wasn't looking at that, and I just glanced at it, and I didn't think that was right, and I looked at it more, and I was like, okay, that's real, because that was really strange to me, because Paxton was more or less a pretty significant free agent signing by this Dodgers team. I mean, his contract wasn't the largest, but it's a pretty significant piece of pitching depth for them. He's had not a horrible season. I mean, hasn't been the greatest, but he's still been a very valuable piece of pitching depth for them. So it was a very weird thing, and I thought, okay, there has to be more to the story, and there hasn't been. He just got DFA'd. The Dodgers thought they had enough pitching depth, and that's it. So I want to talk about why the Dodgers did this, and just going over the Dodgers pitching depth, some places I think Paxton could end up as well. So let's get into it. So originally, looking at this, you look at this and say, okay, well, why in the world would the Dodgers make this decision? Like, what is the rationale for this? I mean, James Paxton, hasn't been the greatest, but at the same time has not been a bad pitcher. I mean, hasn't been, again, as maybe as great as the Dodgers wanted him to be, but at the same time, you look at his stats, they really aren't that bad. He has an ERA currently of 4.43, and then an ERA, expected ERA 4.84. Yeah, it's close to 5, but it's not horrible. Also, aloha to Hawaiian 5-0. How are you doing out there? But so it was very interesting to me to see why in the world the Dodgers would do this. But it makes some sense when you look at their rotation and just the pitching staff at large. I mean, let's ignore who's on the IL right now, okay? If you ignore who's on the IL, these are all the MLB caliber starting pitchers the Dodgers have at their exposure, okay? Let's go with it. Tyler Glasnow, Gavin Stone, Walker Buehler, Landon Knack, Yoshinobu Yamamoto, Clayton Kershaw, Emmett Sheehan, Dustin May, Brett Honeywell, Tony Gonsolin, River Ryan. That's 11, okay? And now let's now go with the people not in the IL. Gavin Stone, Landon Knack, Brent Honeywell, River Ryan. It's only 4. So just for me, it didn't make a lot of sense to DFA the guy who hasn't been that bad, provides a good amount of pitching depth when you have this many injuries. Now, at the same time, only two of these injuries are season-ending, which are Dustin May and Tony Gonsolin. Yamamoto, I believe, should be back around September, so it's not season-ending. It's still pretty significant, but obviously he is going to pitch the rest of the season, I assume. So it just didn't make a lot of sense for me to DFA Paxton. And even with all the 11, quote-unquote, that you can pitch, you can throw Paxton in the bullpen. He can be a left-handed arm. Maybe he didn't want to do that. Maybe that's why he DFA'd him. But still, it just didn't make a lot of sense to me to eat that contract and just get rid of him when he could have provided a valuable skill set, because every single team needs pitching depth. So I just thought it was weird to be able to do that, and I don't really get the decision. Again, they have a lot of good arms in this rotation, but at the same time, I think all pitching depth is good, and just DFAing one who hasn't been that bad just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. So I think Paxton overall becomes easily the best free agent on this market. Now, I'm not sure if they'll be able to trade him or if he's going to get released, but I think there are a ton of teams that could use a veteran arm like James Paxton. One that immediately comes to mind is the Brewers. I think the Brewers are a perfect fit for Paxton. He's the pitcher they like, an old, veteran, savvy pitcher that's kind of crafty and just throws some good innings. I also think the Red Sox having a reunion with him can make a lot of sense. That's also already been floated by multiple Red Sox reporters that the Red Sox will be interested in Paxton, so I think that would make a ton of sense as well. So I don't really get the rationale behind this. Like, again, you have a lot of pitching depth, but Glasnow's on the IL, Buehler's on the IL, Yamamoto's on the IL, Kershaw's on the IL, Sheehan's on the IL, May's on the IL, and Gonsolin's on the IL. So with all those guys in the IL, some of them, as much as you may think they may come back, it's just they still are question marks. So I just don't get it. And at the same time, if some of these guys do come back, where Paxton becomes just excess goods, you can still trade him. We're a week out of the deadline. You can trade him if you want to. So it just didn't make a lot of sense for me to just DFA him and give up on him like that. So overall, I get it. They wanted to clear 40-man space, but still, I don't agree with the decision. And I think there, could have been a bit more of a process to it. But that's just me. So looking at the Dodgers deadline now, I think pitching is going to be a big problem for them because I think they still need to heavy out this rotation, even with the injuries as well. When your rotation's healthy, it's going to be Tyler Glasnow, Gavin Stone, Walker Buehler, Yoshinobu Yamamoto, Clayton Kershaw, right? Those five. I'm sure you'll send down some of your prospects as well, but I would say at this point, Glasnow's gotten hurt a lot in his career. Buehler is still a question mark. Yamamoto's a question mark. Kershaw's a question mark. I still think you need to acquire a starting pitcher. Now, Garrett Crochet is someone that has been very, very much mentioned with this Dodgers team and would make a ton of sense, obviously, but there's some question marks about him and how long he is going to be a starting pitcher this year. Now, I do want to just say, simply put, I will not have the Dodgers acquiring Garrett Crochet. I think one team is going to acquire Crochet, and we'll talk about it tomorrow, which is going to be my full trade deadline extravaganza, just basically predicting every single person on the trade market where they're going to go, so we'll go over that. But I don't have them acquiring him, so I'm just going to put that out of the way. Don't think there are a lot of veteran pitchers. I think Jack Flaherty, hint, is someone that makes a ton of sense for the Dodgers team from the California area. I believe grew up a Dodgers fan, is only a rental, so if he isn't that good, you don't have to keep him. And I'm sure if he is good, he'll willingly sign an extension to go home to LA. So I think Flaherty makes a ton of sense. You say Kikuchi as well as a veteran rental arm would also make a lot of sense. So I think the Dodgers really do have to focus on the pitching rotation right now and being able to get some more veteran depth in that rotation and get some more good pitchers as well in there. So it'll be something very interesting to watch. And just when that is one of your biggest needs, I just don't understand DFAing a guy like Paxton, who provides a very valuable skill set and a skill set that is very important to your team, that is just a veteran, good, solid arm. And overall, just isn't the best decision in my opinion. But again, the Dodgers know best, and it'll be very interesting to see what they do at this deadline. I think they have some needs as well outside of starting pitcher. I think they may need a bullpen arm or two at this deadline. I think they could use an outfield bat as well. So a lot of things to be interested in for this deadline, and I'm very interested to watch what the Dodgers are going to end up doing and what the decisions that are going to be made here with the Dodgers team. So that is it for our third segment here, talking about James Paxton being DFA'd by the Los Angeles Dodgers, going over my thoughts on it, the Dodgers pitching staff as well, and all that kind of stuff. So moving into our fourth segment here, which is going to be talking about Bobby Witt Jr. and his incredible season for the Kansas City Royals. We'll be going over that, and we'll see you after the break. So thanks, and bye.
For the best and latest podcasts available anywhere, go